Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Calm with Carlin, yoga and meditation for your everyday life. Today we have a quick class that is a deep lower body opening. So what that means is we're going to be holding poses for a little bit longer, like a restorative yin style. These are going to be pretty intense stretches. These are all stretches that I like to include in my daily stretching routine. So you can go back to this video at any time just to always keep the lower body nice and open. I do have one yoga block. You can use a yoga block or two if you want some more support in some of these postures. A pillow, any props, you'll be totally fine without them. We're going to start on our backs and I'll see you there when you're ready. All right, not a lot of vinyasas, not a lot of movement today. We're going to start in a supine figure 4. Take your right foot onto the ground, cross your left foot on top of your right knee or thigh, and then let that left knee just press away from the center of the body. This is your base. You can stay here and feel the opening. Flex through the left toes and keep pressing that left knee away from you. If you're feeling good here, stay. If you want a little bit more, option to take the hands behind the right thigh and pull the right knee into the chest as you continue to actively press the left knee away from the center of the body. And then to make this a little bit more intense, your third option would be to bring the hands to the top of the right shin. You'll notice that that deepens the stretch in the left outer hip. Stay here for a couple breaths. And when we're holding these poses for a little bit longer than we normally do, I won't say much, just tap into your breath. Focus on your inhales and exhales. And you can take the option to make the exhales even a little bit longer than the inhales to activate your parasympathetic nervous system in these deep openings, to send a signal to your body that you're safe here. And it's a place where you can open up, stretch your muscles, stretch your mind. When you're ready, if you did bring the leg up, start to bring the right foot back onto the ground. If you're like me and you have limited space on your right side, you'll scooch your body over to the left slightly. Just find a quick twist. So bring the left foot onto the ground, keeping that figure 4 shape in the legs. And then from there, you can stay in the twist like this, or you can bring the left hand to the ground and the right hand to the ground and start to open up. I love this stretch for my torso, for my lower back. Even feel this in the right side body. It's a little bit awkward, but it feels good. Almost like you're rinsing out a wet rag here. And then just carefully come onto your forearms and then back onto your back. And we'll take that on the other side. So cross the right foot on top of the left thigh. Remember, this is your base position with your left heel planted down. Option 2 is to grab behind that left thigh and bring the left knee in towards the chest as you actively press the right knee away from the center of the body. And then third option to intensify even more is to walk the hands to the top of the left shin. That will bring the knee closer to the body and intensify the stretch in the outer right glute. Breathe here for a couple rounds. In just a moment, we'll all start to make our way back to the base position. So when you're ready, walk your way out of it, bringing the left foot back down to the ground. Again, if you need a little bit of space on your left side, scooch over to the right first, and then bring the right foot down. Take a moment to just find that shape in your legs. So they're in the exact same position. Now the right foot is just on the ground. The left shin is on the ground as well. Then bring the right hand down, press yourself up onto the left hand as well, and then press into both hands, particularly the left hand, to find that twisting sensation in the middle of the body. My nails match my mat. I love that for me. Stay here and breathe just for a breath or two. And then when you're ready, we're actually going to stay upright this time. So take your time to come up to a seated position and then just uncross the legs. We're going to get right into a pretty intense stretch. We're taking our frog pose. And remember, I said that we'd be holding these stretches for a little bit longer. So for your frog pose, you're going to bend both of your knees to 90 degrees. And the inside of the leg is what's going to be pressing onto the ground. Now from here, you can come down to the forearms, or you can bring the head to a block. You're just going to press the butt back towards the seat. The wider you walk the shins away from each other, the more intense this is going to be. So maybe you start with a small distance of the knees, and then as you get more comfortable, maybe you settle in a little bit deeper, walking the knees further apart. Maybe you start on the highest height of the block, and then again, as you feel your stuff starting to open, you can bring that block to the medium height, bring the block to the lowest height, maybe eventually bringing the head all the way down to the ground beneath you. If you don't have a block, you always also have the option to just stay up on the forearms here. Wherever you are, you'll feel this in your inner thighs. As you sink back, that stretch starts to intensify in the groin area. And this is just the beginning, so make any adjustments that you need to. And then fight the urge to move or adjust after you've settled in. Unless there's real pain, embrace the discomfort. Recognize the feeling of discomfort. And use your breath to feel that feeling. So we're not necessarily using our breath to make discomfort go away, because discomfort is good. It's good to learn to endure something that makes you uncomfortable off your mat. When something gets uncomfortable or challenging in life, you'll then have the ability to find your breath and move through it rather than trying to make it go away. Got a couple more rounds of breath if you'd like to take this opportunity to go a little bit deeper. Maybe that's a deep connection with your breath. Maybe that's shins walking further apart. Maybe that's hips sinking a little bit closer to the heels. This one's a little funky to get out of because of its intensity. So when you're ready, you'll start to come up onto the hands. From there, you can just heel toe the knees and the feet together until you find that comfortable seated position. Take a moment here, feel how that feels. Like I said, pretty intense. We're gonna go back to a hip stretch now. We'll find a Gomukhasana seated. We're not gonna do the upper body for this though. So first thing you're going to do in your seated position is bend the left leg so that the left knee, the left heel rather, is over towards the right side of the glute. And then you're your right knee on top of your left. So the knees are stacked on top of each other. And the closer your heels are to the center of your body, the more intense this will feel. This is your starting position. You can stay here. This probably already feels like a deep stretch in the outer hips. If you're looking for more, you'll hinge forward, and you can either maybe put your block on top of your knees to give yourself some space. Maybe your forehead comes to the high height of the block. I just kind of like to rest my forehead on my top knee in this stretch. And then the weight of my forehead on my knee really helps me to press deeper into the stretch and intensify the feeling in the outer hips. With the right leg on top, we're more specifically targeting the right outer hip. Take 2 more breaths. At the bottom of the second exhale, start to walk yourself back into center. Take a moment to sit up. Don't go anywhere yet. Just feel whatever this feels like. And then we'll switch out the legs carefully. So unwind. This time your right leg will be on the bottom. Bend the right knee. The foot comes to the outside of the left seat. And then this time the left leg is on top. So we're getting more deeply into our left side this time. So again, your body's not symmetrical. This is going to feel different on this side. So take what you need on this side. Start to hinge forward. Option for the block. Option to rest the forehead on the top knee. So I'm already feeling this more intensely on this side. Tapping into my breath. Using inhales to fill the body with oxygen. And using exhales to let go of any feelings of tension. Using exhales to create physical space in the body, which allows your muscles to open up and stretch deeply. We're really focused on the upper body today, so if you're holding any tension, or the lower body rather, if you're holding any tension in the upper body, try and let go, try and relax the shoulders, try and relax the upper back. Try and keep the face nice and soft rather than clenching the jaw in any of these stretches. And then when you're ready, slowly come back up to a seated position. Again, stay in stillness for 1 moment longer than you want to, rather than swinging those legs and getting out of it right away. Just feeling what it feels like to come out of this stretch. And then we'll move on to a seated forward fold, starting with a wide-legged forward fold. So we will feel this in the hamstrings, but more so in the inner thighs. Take your legs out long on the mat and take them out wide as well. Whatever feels comfortable. The wider the legs are, the more you'll feel this in the inner thighs, the more it will go into your hamstrings. The legs are closer together. We will take a more closed-legged stretch after this. I like to use my block for this one, so I'll take the block with me as I hinge forward. And then once I find that sweet spot, I'm going to place one or both blocks underneath my forehead. And keep this stretch really active. Rather than allowing yourself to completely melt, imagine that there's a magnetic pull of your heels towards your glutes. And as you find that magnetic pull, nothing will move, but energetically, what that's doing is opening up through the hamstrings, and you'll start to feel them light up. This one is especially juicy after the frog that we already did. So know that discomfort is normal, discomfort is expected. Your job is to breathe through it rather than trying to push it away. As you start to go deeper, if you're using the block, remember you can adjust the height. Maybe you adjust the height and you realize, hey, I need more support today. I'm going to bring it back to the taller height. As you're ready, start to come back through center, coming upright. Just like in the previous poses, take a moment to pause. And then turn around to face the long edge of the mat. We'll take another forward fold, except for this one, our legs will be closer together. We'll really focus on those hamstrings. You can use the block as a modification for support to rest your forehead in this forward fold. You can also use the block as an amplification, placing it to the outside edges of the feet so that when you fold forward, you're grabbing onto the block rather than the feet. It's a little bit further. For me, is not in the cards today, so I'm just going to take a regular forward fold. We won't be here for super long. Take an inhale, reach the fingertips up, flex the toes towards the face, and on the exhale, hinge forward, keeping the spine long. Find whatever you find. It might be the toes, it might be the block, maybe your hands are just framing the ankles or the knees. And then tuck the chin to the chest just ever so slightly, still keeping the chin lifted a bit to keep those airways open. And with every inhale, think about growing longer in the spine. Every exhale, think about folding just a little bit deeper, even if it's just a millimeter. It can be really challenging to stay in a forward fold for a couple rounds of breath, because this is so intense in our hamstrings. And you've got this. Just a couple more rounds of breath. Feel yourself start to sink deeper. Feel yourself start to stink, I said. Feel yourself start to sink deeper. Stay in the moment, stay in the discomfort. And then at the bottom of your next round of breath, slowly come up to a tall seated position. That is uncomfy while you're in it, but notice how good the back of the body feels right now. We're gonna do one more thing. Let's come into a downward facing dog to transition. It would not be a lower body class without a pigeon pose. So take a moment in your downward facing dog. Legs should be nice and open, so really get those heels to sink towards the ground. And then we'll go right into our pigeon pose. Take an inhale, lift the left leg up high. On the exhale, bring the left foot towards the right wrist. Find an angle that works for your body. Grab your block if you think you'll want it. And then once you find that angle that works for your body, whether the shin is parallel to the top of the mat or more at like a 45-degree angle, you'll come onto your forearms. Option to bring the block to any height that you need to in order to find the ground a little bit closer to you. If you don't have a block, you can stack fists on top of one another. It's also a great way to find a little bit more support to bring the ground closer to you. So we've already done a lot of hip opening. So hopefully this doesn't feel super uncomfortable. Pigeon can be one of those poses that you're tempted to kind of wiggle and try and get out of it. When that happens, the body tends to go into fight or flight. Sometimes we fight by clenching the jaw and finding tension in the body. It's not what you want here. You want this to be a little uncomfortable, but with ease. So be able to breathe long inhales and even longer exhales. As you feel yourself starting to settle, maybe you remove the block. Maybe you bring the block to a lower height. Maybe the forehead eventually comes down to the mat. At the bottom of the next exhale, start to walk the hands in towards the center of the body, and then find your downward facing dog to transition. Whew. One leg might be feeling a little different from the other now. Next side, inhale, reach the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, the right foot comes to the left wrist. Find the angle that works for your body. And then once you do that, block is there if you need it. Choose a height that works for you. You also have the option to create fists with the hands, stack them on top of each other. I said before when we were in our seated Gomukhasana pose, but my right hip always feels a little bit more open. So don't feel like you have to do the exact same thing as the other side right away on this side. I'm going to remove the block. I'm going to start to go a little bit deeper. Maybe it's the opposite for you. Maybe you need more support. Accept whatever it is. Do whatever you need to stay in this moment, to keep the breath strong, to open up through the right hip. These long static stretches, they target the issues in our tissues, the memories, experiences that we store in our cells that create tension and stress in the body. So there's mental stress, there's chemical stress, and then there's physical stress. And physical stress can manifest as tension, it can manifest as pain. And we're really addressing that physical stress when we go into these deep stretches. All right, when you're ready, start to bring the hands into the center of the body. Whew. Coming in nice and slow, and then transitioning to your downward facing dog. Just taking a breath here, and then when you arrive, coming down to the knees and finding a comfortable seat, whether that's on the shins or seated in a cross-legged position. We'll finish by taking 3 deep breaths together. Take an inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go, sigh it out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Inhale through the nose last time. Exhale, let go. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today. I hope your lower body is feeling nice and open. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me know how class was. Like this video, subscribe. Those things are all things that really help me to bring even more yoga to you for free. I'll see you next time. Namaste.